It was supposed to be one of the busiest, most stressful, yet exciting weeks of their young lives. Finals week at Crestwood University, a bustling college tucked away in the quiet town of Fairview. Students crammed in late-night study sessions, coffee cups stacked on library tables, and the campus buzzed with nervous energy. But amid the exhaustion and determination, something darker was about to unfold, something that would leave a wound on the school for years. Two best friends, inseparable since freshman year, suddenly vanished without a trace. Their names were Rachael Monroe and Claire Donovan. Rachael, 21, was the more outgoing of the two, tall with an infectious smile and a tendency to light up every room she walked into. Claire, also 21, was quieter, studious, the kind of girl who carried color-coded notebooks and sticky notes wherever she went. They met in their first year during orientation and quickly became inseparable, sharing not just their dorm room but their lives. During finals week of their junior year, they disappeared. Their last known location? The university library. It was late on a Tuesday night. The girls had been seen entering the library together around 9:30 p.m. Surveillance footage confirmed it. Two young women carrying backpacks, chatting and laughing as they pushed through the glass doors. Students later said they were preparing for a psychology exam scheduled for the next morning. They sat in one of the back tables on the second floor. A few people noticed them that night, but around midnight, they were gone. When Rachel's roommate realized she hadn't come back to the dorm by morning, she didn't panic at first. Finals week often meant students pulling all-nighters at the library or crashing in study lounges. But by that evening, when both Rachael and Claire failed to show up for their exams, alarms started ringing. Professors reported their absence. Friends called their phones. No answer. Messages went unread. Campus security was contacted, and soon the Fairview Police Department was involved. At first, investigators assumed they had run off for a break or simply burned out and skipped their tests. But when officers checked the library's exit cameras, there was no sign of the two girls leaving. The only footage was of them walking inside. No footage of them coming out. Detectives combed through the building, searching every floor, every study room, every bathroom. Nothing. Their backpacks were gone, their laptops too, but none of their personal belongings had been taken from their dorm. Their cars remained parked where they had been left. Their wallets were still in their rooms. For weeks, the search consumed the campus. Flyers with their faces were plastered across bulletin boards, dorm hallways, even taped to trees. Students organized search parties, combing the nearby woods and rivers. Police interviewed dozens of people, friends, classmates, professors, custodial staff, library employees. Everyone had the same story. They saw the girls in the library, and then they were gone. Rachel's parents describe her as full of life, always talking about her dreams of traveling after graduation. Claire's parents said she was disciplined and hardworking, determined to get into grad school. Neither of them, their families insisted, would just walk away. And then the rumors began. Some students whispered about the so-called library ghost, a campus legend that dated back decades. According to the story, students had gone missing before, always during finals, always from the library. The administration dismissed it as nonsense, but that didn't stop the talk. Others speculated something more sinister, a stalker, maybe even a staff member abusing his position. Despite the investigation, nothing solid was found. No evidence of foul play, no messages or notes, no witnesses who saw them leave with anyone. It was as if the two young women had simply vanished into thin air. As days turned into months, the case grew colder. The families begged for answers on TV, pleading with anyone who knew something to come forward. But tips dwindled. The missing posters weathered under the rain. New semester started. Students graduated. Life on campus moved on. But for their families, time froze. 3 years later, in the spring of 2019, Crestwood University was preparing to renovate its historic library. Construction crews moved in to tear down part of the West Wing and reinforce the old foundation. The building was nearly a century old, with countless renovations over the decades. Behind a plaster wall, in a narrow hallway on the first floor, workers made a shocking discovery. Hidden inside the wall was an old maintenance tunnel, sealed off sometime in the 1970s. Dust, cobwebs, and forgotten debris filled the narrow passageway. But wedged between two wooden beams, wrapped in decayed cloth, was a small object. It was a phone. The police were called immediately. Forensics confirmed it belonged to Rachael Monroe. Even though years had passed, investigators were able to retrieve fragments of data from the device. What they found shook everyone. The last text message Rachael had typed but never sent was to Claire. It read, "Did you hear that? Someone's down here." And then the phone went silent. The discovery reignited the case. Detectives swarmed the university once more, this time with ground-penetrating radar, cadaver dogs, and forensic teams. They searched the tunnels, the basements, and every corner of the library. The maintenance tunnel led to a forgotten crawl space beneath the building. Inside, investigators found disturbing evidence. Scraps of fabric matching clothes Rachael and Claire had been wearing, strands of hair, and a single silver earring that Rachel's mother immediately recognized as belonging to her daughter. But the girls' remains were nowhere to be found. Theories exploded across the community. Some believed they had stumbled into the tunnels by accident, lured there by curiosity or the need for a quiet study spot. Others suggested something darker, that someone knew about the tunnels and used them to prey on the students. An ex-janitor who had worked at Crestwood in the early 2000s came forward, telling police about hearing strange noises in those lower halls. Sounds like whispers and dragging footsteps. He claimed he once reported it, but nothing was ever done. Police could not confirm his story, but added fuel to the growing fear. Then, as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered yet another chilling detail. Buried among the debris in the crawl space was a stack of Polaroid photographs. Some were water damaged, others completely ruined, but a few remained clear enough to make out. They showed students. Some appeared to be studying in the library. Others looked as though they were caught off guard, snapped at odd angles. None of the photos were dated and none showed Rachael or Claire directly, but the implication was horrifying. Someone had been watching, and maybe still was. Rachel's phone and the photographs became the centerpiece of a revived investigation. Detectives worked tirelessly, chasing down old staff records, interviewing retired employees, and comparing notes from missing persons cases in nearby towns. But still, the identity of whoever was behind it all remained out of reach. Rachael and Claire's families continue to fight for answers. They hold vigils every year on the anniversary of their disappearance, candles glowing on the library steps, their daughters' faces printed on posters with the words "never forgotten." To this day, no remains have ever been recovered. No arrests have been made. The case is still open. And the question haunts Crestwood University like a shadow. What happened to Rachael Monroe and Claire Donovan in that library during finals week? Were they victims of a hidden predator? Someone who knew the tunnels better than anyone? Did they stumble into something they were never supposed to find? Or is the truth something even darker? Something that remains buried in the walls, waiting to be uncovered? Because if Rachel's last message was right, someone was down there. And maybe they still are.